Mighty Mac and Neville's fruitful day. It was a sunny day on the island of Sodor, and all the engines had bright Sodor paints that gleamed like the sun. And Neville, the black tender engine, was racing into his black paint, gleamed in the sunshine as he sped along the line. But at the next day, he met Mighty Mac at a junction. When he said this to Mighty Mac, "What are you doing there, Mighty Mac? You should be at the next station by now. You're late." "I know," said Mighty Mac, but 2 trucks and 1 tar wagon have been troublesome all morning." "That's no excuse, Mighty Mac," said Neville. "Nothing can stop us. The Fat Controller is relying on me to be on time. Now, if you excuse me, I'll be on my way." And he puffed away. "Bossy boots," muttered Mighty Mac. At the next day, Neville's brake vans were filled with sweet fruit from the docks, and all the fruit from Sodor came from the far away places from Sodor. And at last, Neville watched as the cranes loaded his favourite fruits, called bananas, apples, grapes, tomatoes, and strawberries, as they were carefully loaded into his vans. As Neville was taking the other brake van, he had to puff backwards. He did not like that. It was tiring him. When he met Ferdinand and Rocky, Ferdinand was surprised. "Where have you got those from?" he said. "We're really reliable. That's me. Pity for me, I'm not the same size as Mighty Mac. Peep, peep, goodbye." "What is that about?" gasped Rocky. "Trouble for Neville. Just wait and see," said Ferdinand. But Neville didn't hear anything, and with that, he was still gone. And with that, he was still gone. Later, Mighty Mac had finished his trucks when the station master had bad news. For Mighty Mac's driver. "Neville's brakes are jammed. We need Mighty Mac's help right away." "Okay," said Mighty Mac's driver, and Mighty Mac set off to the rescue. When they met Neville, "Pity you're not the same old engineer, Neville. What you might call a sticky situation." "Be quiet," muttered Neville. "It's not funny having jammed brakes, and not very reliable either," said Mac at the back. And that is why you're not that good at all." "Well, I am surprised to see you like this," teased Mighty Mac. "That is why nothing can stop me as a double tank engine." "That's enough, Mighty Mac," said his driver. "Now, can you push these trucks?" "Of course I will," said Mac at the back, as they were ready to change the points. Mighty was making up with good time and was coupled to the trucks. "Peep, peep, off you go," said Mac. "I'll have to go fast and get there in time." "These tender engines are so unreliable," said Mighty. Then they reached an abandoned shed with old doors. "Look out!" shouted Mighty Mac's driver, and applied the brakes. But the vans were in pieces and broken and squashed to death. Even the shed as well. Mighty Mac's driver and fireman fireman jumped clear, but squashed fruit squirts over Mac. The Fat Controller was cross. Mighty Mac, you are not to blame with the points failure, but I do not run a jam factory. Yes, sir. No, sir, they said, and they puffed sadly and weakly away. That night, the shed was ready for some compensation, and there was Neville and Mighty Mac not saying a word. I know what I'm saying, said Rosie. Fruit, fruit, fruit. Anything can happen, she said, and all the engines agreed, except Mighty Mac and Neville. They didn't even say a word. You know, said Rosie to no engine in particular, but it was silent. But there's only one way for getting jammed, so we all learned that today, said Rosie. Jammed can make things in a mistake, said Mac, and Neville and Mighty had to agree. And there was one thing Rosie had to say. We're really useful engines after all. And with that, Mighty Mac and Neville became even more happier of all. It was the fruitful day on Sodor. And it was.